Show off a Reeves student oil paint set. So here you can see it says Reeves right there on the tin. It has a picture of a greyhound dog on the emblem as well. This is, I would like to say, probably early to mid 1900s overall. Comes with a palette, pretty clean considering the age. Some type of wood, pretty good condition. So I'm just going to show off some of the key highlights here. So here we have a flake white. This was one of the only whites available at the time. This is roughly around the time titanium white was beginning commercial production. Obviously we had zinc white as well, but flake white is the main one, and it's a rare color I would consider. We also have Crimson Lake. So this is most likely a madder or a rose madder of some sort, I would assume. And we have a Naples Yellow. I don't know if this is a hue or if this is the real thing. Given the age, it could be either. It says Naples Yellow Deep. So it does look kind of like an ochreish Naples Yellow, which Naples Yellow Deep Genuine does look like that. That one was sold, by the way. Moving on to the next set here, we have some anonymous European brand oil paints, vintage. I would say about the same age as the other one. So here we have Spectrum Yellows, one of the colors worth pointing out here. Not 100% sure what this would actually be considered, like which pigment is in this, but it is by Winsor & Newton. Here you can see the color there. It has kind of like a Naples yellow or cadmium look to it. The next one I'll show off is this brown color, which has an interesting logo, or interesting label. It has kind of like an archangel on the label. Not 100% sure what color it is. It's kind of obscured and it's in another language. So, interesting. It could be really anything. My guess is it's probably a number of some sort, but who knows. Just a cool label in my opinion. Here we have the most interesting out of this set. We have an Indian Yellow Imitation. So this was made by Lefranc. This is a French brand. I would say this was made shortly after Genuine Indian Yellow went off the market. And if you see some of the paint oozing from the side there, it's kind of like a transparent goldish yellow that this color, the imitation color is, which is very similar to what the real one looks like based on pictures that I've seen and texts that I've read. That set is sold as well. So here we move on to a Winsor & Newton set. I would say this is probably slightly older than the other ones, maybe early 1900s, late 1800s. Beautiful imagery on the front of this little box that holds these paint tubes. So just going to open it up, and I'm just going to point out some of the noteworthy colors in this set. So we have a rose madder alizarin. There's a few of those in there actually. And I'm kind of just digging around because there is a vermilion in here. There's a few vermilions, which I'm assuming are genuine. We have a cerulean blue. I would say this is most likely the genuine version of it. Still digging for that vermilion. So there's a lot of common colors in there too, like burnt umbers and yellow ochres. So there you have one of the vermilions. It's kind of hard to see. The conditions vary. Most of the tubes I'm showing you of all these sets in this video are soft. It's just the caps are stuck on most of them. So this one is for sale. I have a price, as you can see. For the ones for sale, there is going to be a price listed. So here's another Winsor & Newton. This one's much more recent. This is likely in the 60s. I'd still consider this vintage. It comes in this beautiful box. This is a student's Winton set. So here it hints at the age. It says 63. I'm assuming 1963 is what it means. The box is a little bit tattered up, but it's rare to find one of these old tin sets in an original box like this. So here we go. Just going to open this up. Just a little bit out of focus there. Alright, so here we go. Comes with a color mixtures guide. Basically, it just gives you basic instructions. You know, gives you color mixtures of how you can paint animals, buildings, seas. You know, exact colors that you can mix to come up with those scenarios. So again, just like the Reeves set, the Winsor Newton set, it has a palette. The palette's a little bit more messy, but not by much. This set comes with distilled turpentine. Still has a decent amount in there. I would say probably about half. Comes with linseed oil, which is pretty much full. I would say this hasn't been used, or if it has, it was just a small amount. It also comes with a Winton picture varnish, which I would say is something similar to Gamvar picture varnish, which would be my assumption. And I'm just going to show off the three highlight colors, or colors I would consider the highlight colors in this set. Most of the colors in here are stuff you'll find most other places, like ochres and, you know, you have a cobalt blue in there, I believe. Some cadmium, you know. So you got flake white. This is back when it was still in the student line. Cobalt blue and crimson lake. So here, this is the most recent I'm going to show you guys. This is a flake white in the Winton student line, but this is either in the 90s or early 2000s. This is before they discontinued it from the student line. It's important to notice that, or to note that this isn't flake white hue or flake white replacement, and this tube hasn't been used. It looks a little bit beat up superficially, but it hasn't been used, and it has the old style of these Winton tubes. You can see there just from the label, as well as the cap. The cap comes off. The paint is still soft and usable. So what flake white was a combination of lead white and zinc white. So this is a combination of those two pigments. Still very toxic, obviously. There you go. Again, you can't find this in the Winton student line, and this is a very large tube as well. So this is a piece of history. If you'd like to use this or have this, it would make a great addition to your collection. So moving on to these two small tubes, which I believe are early 1900s. These are in French mostly, but it does say bitumen and asphalt. So this leads me to thinking it's either made out of asphaltum or some type of bitumen. There's even a very, very, very small chance that it could be mummy brown. I highly doubt it, but there is that small chance because those names are interchangeable sometimes. These have some type of resin in them. They're kind of different from oil paint. There's like some type of resin in it that makes it slightly different than oil paint. Anyways, just throwing that out there. These aren't currently for sale, but they will probably be for sale at some point in time in the near future. On to the next part of my personal collection, we have my 3 genuine emerald green tubes, as well as a sample from another emerald green tube that a friend of mine sent me. These were kind of like my beginning into collecting and testing very rare colors. So I'm not going to take these out of their placeholders because I don't want to disturb the labels because they're very fragile. Particularly this first one here, we have a Roberson & Co. Emerald Green. You can see a little bit of the color oozing out of the tube even. It's a beautiful minty green. This will never be for trade or sale unless I'm in very tough economical times. Yeah, it's a very personal one for me. Here's Emerald Green by Winsor & Newton. It's kind of hard to see because the label's a little bit oiled out. But that one, these are all completely soft. That one's easy to get the cap off too, so sometimes I test that one out in paintings. Here's a Rowney Emerald Green. And basically I've showed these from oldest to youngest. That goes from 1800s to about mid